What were our sales this year? What was our average cost of goods? How much money did I make? Am I actually a six-figure reseller? I want to answer all these questions today in our review of 2021. Hey y'all, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is MOGIBETH. For those of y'all who are new here, I own a six-figure reselling business, which we're going to be talking all about today in our review of how my business performed in 2021. Today, I'm going to be dumping a whole bunch of stats at you. I'm going to be talking about our total sales or our total revenue, our earnings after platform fees, our gross profit, which means our profit after platform fees, shipping, cost of goods sold, our average cost of goods, our average profit margin, our sales per platform, and so much more. And then at the end of this video, I'm just going to briefly discuss our plans for 2022 and what my goals are for our reselling business. But before we jump into all of that, I really quickly just want to go over how far business has come, because it's easy to forget, but I really started taking reselling seriously in November of 2018, which means while I've been on Poshmark for 5 years now, I really have only had a full-fledged reselling business for 3 years. And this 2021 was our third full year. Our first year in our reselling business, 2019, my total sales were $61,218, which wasn't too bad, especially since I moved that year, which meant I couldn't resell for about a month and a half. And then in 2020, I shared my total sales. If you didn't check out that video, I'll link it up on the screen. But if you've been following this YouTube channel, then you know my total sales for that year was $143,426. And then in 2021, this past year, we made another big leap. So without further ado, let's jump into all of the numbers for 2021. Okay, so our total sales or our total revenue for 2021 was $250,495.61. That's $250,000, which is quite a leap from the year before. And while I don't plan on taking another leap in 2022, which I'll talk more about later, I'm really proud of what we've been able to accomplish this year and where we're at. But obviously that's not what we took home at the end of the day. So let's break that number down further. The first expense that all resellers take into account is platform fees. So on Poshmark, we have a whopping 20% platform fee. On Mercari, they take 10% plus 2.9% plus 30 cents for their payment processing fee. Similarly, Etsy only takes 5%, but they also have a 3% plus 25-cent payment processing fee. eBay is kind of a question mark. You have to wait, and they basically kind of tell you, but it's around 10-ish%. And then if you do promoted listings and other things, then it's going to cost more. But your sales minus your platform fees is the money that is actually deposited into your bank account. And on Poshmark, they call this number earnings, which isn't technically 100% correct, but for reselling purposes, that's the word we'll go with. So our earnings for 2021, which again, we're just referring to our sales minus our platform fees, was $192,234.17. So we provided these platforms, meaning, Poshmark, eBay, Tradesy, mainly Poshmark, with $58,261.44 in revenue, so you're welcome. No, they make it possible for us to do what we do. And then after our earnings, we have to account for other expenses attributable to the sale. So that means taking into account shipping and cost of goods. And once we take those into account, we'll get our gross profit. So our gross profit for 2021 was $153,157.68. And so I actually do get a lot of questions surrounding what makes a six-figure reseller. And I think in the reselling community, what this typically refers to is a reseller who makes 6 figures in sales, so in total revenue, within a calendar year. So if your sales break $100,000, you know, within 2021, you could consider yourself a six-figure reseller. But in this year, we also were able to have a gross profit of over $100,000, a little more than $150,000. So that's great. But I already hear y'all now at home saying, well, that's not everything. What about net profit? Well, net profit would then take other expenses that aren't attributable to the sale. So for us, our two main expenses that are incorporated into net profit are our lease and our employees, so payroll or labor. And I'm not going to be able to share our net profit today or ever, just in respect for the privacy of our employees. It would be too much of a giveaway of how much we pay them, and that's something I would never ever put on the internet out of respect for them. But those are our two main other expenses. So if you want to guesstimate numbers, you know, go ahead. There are, of course, other expenses like internet, packaging materials, any kind of equipment that we purchased this year. So those will be definitely taken into account when we are calculating our net profit as well. And then after net profit, of course, there's taxes, which I don't know if resellers talk about taxes enough, but we pay our taxes quarterly, so we save for our taxes year round. And so with our reselling income alone, do we make six figures after taxes? And the answer is no, we don't. But we actually make a really solid living from just reselling. And of course we have other income streams, but I only work 2 to 3 hours a day on reselling, which is amazing and something I worked very hard on getting to that point throughout 2021. So really happy with where I'm at. And when you think about it that way, I really think our reselling business is a success. But of course, if you wanted to take home more of that $250,000, you could, you know, work your reselling business out of your home and not hire employees, so do it all yourself, which a lot of resellers do and a lot of really successful resellers do. And typically what that means for those resellers who do make those really high sales numbers, but do it all from home and do it all themselves, is that they're working really long hours, they're working really, really hard, which is amazing, especially if it brings you joy, meaning, purpose. But for me, I have always really wanted and been intentional about getting our reselling business to run itself as much as possible so that I could not spend all day reselling. And really back in 2018-19, my goal was just to only source and have everything else delegated and outsourced and have VAs and employees doing the rest, and we're really, really close to that. So yeah, I'm willing to take less money, employ others, if it means I don't have to work 24/7 on reselling. But it also just gives me a lot of purpose and meaning, because it's really just a cool feeling to know that this reselling business is not only providing for me, but for others as well. So there you have it. That's my little spiel on our current state of income from our reselling business. But there are other stats I want to share, so let's get back to those. Okay, so I'm gonna pull my phone out for this one, but all right, in 2021, we sold a total of 3,999 items, wish we would have sold just one more, but that's a great number. And that means that we averaged selling 333 per month with an average sales price of $62.62. Our average cost of goods in 2021 was $10.05, which I'm guessing is probably on the higher end when compared to the average reseller. And then that means our average gross profit margin was 61.2%. Okay, so let's talk about sales per platform. On Poshmark, we had $182,848 in sales. And then on eBay, we did $47,267.62 worth of sales. On Tradesy, we did $19,949.99 in sales. On PayPal, which is something I don't do that often, but sometimes y'all ask me to sell something to you directly, and in that case, I will sell on PayPal. We had $258 in sales, so not too much, but more than Mercari. I really was not active on Mercari much at all this year, but that is definitely going to change this year. On Mercari, I had $120 in sales, so not too much, but it is what it is. Okay, so another stat that I want to share is our average and median sales days. So these numbers are the number of days it took for items to sell. So we take the average and then we also take the median, because we find that the median is actually a better indicator of how these items are performing on average. So our average sales days was 188 days, and then our median was 92. Which is not terrible, but there's definitely room for improvement there, and that's something that I definitely want to keep an eye on and focus on this year. Okay, so I actually went on Instagram and asked y'all what you wanted to hear from this video, other than, you know, basic stats, some of which I've already shared that y'all wanted. But if you're not following me on Instagram, make sure to do that, because I'm definitely more active over there now. I'm trying to go live more frequently, so if you aren't following me there, now's a good time. But anyway, what y'all wanted to know, what two very popular requests were my top selling brands, my top selling categories. So my top 3 selling brands in 2021, number 1 was Free People. I sold 239 pieces of Free People. Next was NBD, which is an in-house Revolve brand. I sold 155 pieces of NBD. And then last was my old trusty Madewell, which shows up in virtually every haul, so I'm not surprised. And I sold a total of 134 pieces of Madewell. My top 3 categories actually did surprise me quite a bit. So number 1 didn't surprise me, but the number of number 1, I'm surprised. So my top 3 categories. Number 1, dresses. And I sold 1,128 dresses. That's, you know, over a quarter of what I sold were just dresses. So that definitely helped me actually see some trends. Like, there are definitely certain parts of the year in which dresses are selling more, and those also tended to be my most profitable months this year, and so that made a little bit more sense to me. And then there are, of course, seasons in which dresses don't do so well, and those tended to be not my best months. So maybe a less reliance on dresses might be a strategy going forward. But, you know, they're selling and they have a high ASP, and I do enjoy selling dresses, so it's not necessarily a bad thing. My second category is actually what really surprised me, and this is really due to liquidation, because if you watch my thrift with me, I don't even go to this section of the thrift store, so I don't pick up a lot of these. But number 2 was tops. I sold a total of 477 tops in 2021. And then my third is not a surprise to me, because I love selling this category, and it just has a really great sell-through rate, and a good average sales price, and that is shoes. So I sold 444 pairs of shoes in 2021. Our best month was April, and that had a total sales month of $28,726.50, and that's kind of what I mean. March and April are really, really good months for selling dresses, because people are going into, you know, prom season, they're going into wedding season, they're going into summer, which is when people are gonna wear dresses. But also, really, the main reason I think April was my best month was because I listed the most out of any month in March. And I believe that your work within your reselling business has about a 30 to 60 day delay in the return in results. And this really kind of helped me believe that even more, because in March I was listing a ton, and then I really reaped the rewards and benefits of that listing in April. And April I actually also listed a lot. So that made a lot of sense to me. And what also made a lot of sense to me was my worst month of 2021, and that was August. My total sales in August was $15,980.75. And that was because in July and August, I unexpectedly had to basically kind of stop working. I tried to work as much as I could, but I went back to Wichita to take care of my dad and what's going on with him. So it was worth, you know, the decrease in sales, but it definitely did have an impact on my business. And so on average, we made $20,874.63 in sales per month. So that's a pretty good place to be at. and something I, again, am really proud of. So, all right, those are the stats for 2021. Let's just talk really briefly about 2022, which, by the way, Happy New Year. I hope you all had a wonderful holiday season, and I hope you're excited and feeling motivated to tackle this year. I love January, and January has actually been off to a really good start for us, so fingers are crossed that it continues. But we've grown a lot, like I've been talking about over the past 3 years, and in August of this year, we'll actually be at a crossroads because our lease will be up in our office space, and we signed a 3-year lease. It's gonna be up. So the question of where we want to take this reselling business has been really top of mind for me, because soon, you know, we'll be having to make that decision. And so we could either scale up, we could find a new space, a larger space, probably have to be a warehouse space, and really grow our business. We could maintain where we're at, try to just negotiate a new lease, stay in that space, or we could downsize and, you know, move it back into our house or choose a smaller space. And all 3 of those options are definitely something that we've considered. There was definitely a time in which I really played around with the idea of building a 7-figure reselling business, and it's definitely something that has been done by other resellers in the past, so it's possible. It would just mean more space, more inventory, more employees, and so something to take in mind. Luckily, we don't have to decide everything right now because there are a lot of variables in the air, but right now for 2022, I'm really happy where we're at, and I'm really kind of just looking to maintain where we're at this year. So the idea of building that 7-figure reselling business is actually not very appealing to me, and the reason why is that at this point in our business, we've scaled, we've systematized, and we've kind of figured out all the challenges and puzzles that go along with that. And just to scale, I mean, it would come with new headaches, but it wouldn't really come with new challenges, if that makes sense. It'd just be more of what we're already doing. So, you know, larger space, like I said, a lot more employees, having to invest more in liquidation in order to get that much inventory, and it would just take a lot more time because I would want to be available for my employees and basically be managing employees full-time, which for me, I'm someone who I really like working just 2 to 3 hours a week on this reselling business because it affords me the opportunity to have other businesses, have other revenue streams. And we are about to launch a massive business, the biggest business we've ever, you know, invested in, Matt and I, this year. And so that's really my full-time job. And so probably the 7-figure reselling business is not in my future, which is totally fine. I can make peace with that. But I'm really, you know, the $250,000 sales business, I'm very happy with, and especially since it doesn't take too much of my time. We also have another major change happening this year, which check Instagram because I may have already announced it by the time this video is out. If not, I'm going to soon. But that will definitely mean there's a lot of change, a lot of uncertainty, and again, like I said, a lot of variables in the air that will definitely change my priorities and change what I'm able to accomplish and focus on. So in terms of what maintaining our business looks like, it means having on average $20,000 sales month again, which means listing 350 approximately listings per month. In order to do that, I think I can easily list about 17 items, 17 and a half. I'm right now doing 20 Monday through Friday. So got that covered. That's really not that big a deal. But the challenge for me is going to be sourcing. How am I going to source 350 items per month? And so I think I'm going to do a mix of thrift and liquidation. I really want to do much more thrift this year than I did last year, and so I would really like to do about 150 items per month thrifted, and then maybe around 200 in liquidation or some other form of online sourcing, something like that. But also that gives me the flexibility that if I have months that are super busy, I can just invest more in liquidation and have that freedom too. And then when there are months when the thrift is just really great, or I have time to go thrifting, then I could increase my thrifting quota and have more thrifted items. But I'm actually really excited to do more thrifting this year. I'm really wanting to go to the bins more often. Really want to focus on eBay and making sure I'm very consistent over there. figuring that platform out, increasing my sales on eBay, and then also Mercari. I actually want to cross-list everything we have over to Mercari this year as well, and see how that goes and see how my sales are over there. But yeah, I'm going to document it all. I'm going to document the thrift, of course. I want to eventually share my results on eBay and share what worked for me, what didn't. So if you haven't already, subscribe to this YouTube channel, give this video a big old thumbs up, and thanks for watching and hearing all about how our reselling business did in 2021. Let me know in the comments down below, how was your year this year? And if you have any questions for me, of course, feel free to leave them down below. I hope y'all enjoyed this video, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Happy New Year. Love y'all. Bye.